Hello, welcome to Weekly Shonen Recap. This week we'll be talking about Black Clover, Chainsaw Man, Dr. Stone, My Hero Academy, and One Piece.
All right. So starting off, Black Clover 258. It's weird that this is a really good chapter, but simultaneously the least hype chapter.
Have you ever noticed that his really action-packed, intense chapters are very short? Like all the other ones
Oh
are
yeah, they always
19
hit I think maybe Shonen
15
Jump's
pages.
chapter minimum. Yeah,
I don't know why he does that. I mean, I
it
still
makes
like
them
the chapter,
punchier, really.
as it did have a good ending. The whole chapter was good, but it was just it did have it had a good ending on it, so I could see why he shortened it. Do you think? I wondered. I guess they can request it in a way because you usually see 19, 20-ish. I know Eden
I think
Zero
there's a
does,
minimum maximum thing for what they can turn in a week.
and most people just happen to do 19-ish.
Yeah, because it hits around the middle. It's the easiest to get a story pace into. But we should probably talk about what actually happened in the
Okay.
chapter.
Yeah. It was
So-
more of an action chapter again this week, just continuing the battle with Dante.
Yeah, and it really just starts off with showing a mirroring of Yami and Asta and how tired they are, but determined still, how wounded they are.
Oh, I wanted to mention that I saw this. You see Yami's face, and it's just a really bloody ear. It's not messed up. It's just a bloody ear.
Okay.
I saw that when I was reading the chapters. You could see the side of his face where the wound was,
Yeah.
and it's just blood. There's nothing wrong with his face.
Okay, that's gonna make things easier but that takes away a little bit of the impact.
I was thinking that same
Because
thing.
it's like we've said before, Mimosa and Seker exist.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you drop a limb on Yami, I can kind of believe he'll get it back.
Mm-hmm. There's some kind of means, but then it's just oh, he used it. That thing destroys space, and yet it hit him right by his face and did nothing.
Yeah,
Consequence.
he should have lost the ear. I really think that would have been a good thing. It's a minimal thing that you could think, oh man, that's gonna be bad if that lasts. But it's not gonna last because we have two really, really, really powerful healers just right nearby.
And they're not even. Well, Mimosa might have gotten blown up, but I highly doubt it.
Even if she got blown up, I imagine she used her plants as a shield.
Which I want to see what happened. They just set off bombs and ended. They literally set off bombs and ended the chapter, and then we haven't seen.
Who didn't know that was where there was going to be a chapter changeover, though?
I mean, yeah. I wish we'd go back to that.
But
But
back
anyway,
to this, though, yeah.
So, yeah, it's more of a. It's a. Like I said, it's a fighting chapter, and I just wanted to mention that detail about the ear since we were discussing it over the last few chapters.
Very good.
But,
It starts off with the mirroring, and then Yami starts talking about, like he suspected, the anti-magic's going to be the key to this fight. But it's all about getting Austin for a hit, and we start seeing they start fighting, and it looks like they're kind of in parallel until we start seeing Yami is forcing Asta out of the way. He's forcing in more hits, and Asta's not really connecting with anything. And then that's whenever Asta realizes at the moment he's in the way. And he can't leave because Yami can't do this without him. Because he straight up, Yami had to kick him out of the way of dying.
Oh yeah, that was fun. It was somewhat. I'm not gonna say funny because he almost died.
Yeah, but he's well, that was insane. Yami had to think about saving himself because Yami has to dodge that. But he also had to think, Asta's not getting out of the way in time. I have to save his ass. So Asta goes into, basically Naruto's inner world, but for him.
Which it's not even that. It sounds funny when we say it like that, but it's not even that detailed. It's just a space that has the devil in it. Or his devil.
Yeah.
I don't think. It's just whenever I think of Naruto's inner world, I know we're getting on a rant, but it's that weird chain gate that he had, the giant gate that had the.
Yeah, it's not like it's anything kept away from him, but it is this huge menacing presence.
Yeah.
It's just Asta standing in front of it.
Yeah.
But he goes in there and he's like, I know that you hate this thing. So I'm going to need more of your power. There's a little less cut and dry than just that.
Yeah, he talks about how he knows that he can tell that even the devil inside him hates the devil that's inside Dante. And he talks about how he just needs power to be able to beat him, so he wants to work together with him and get to know him
Yeah,
instead.
Which is literally the whole reason I said this is a Naruto inner world moment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it's literally like whenever Naruto was talking to Karubi and he's like, I want to know you. But the devil's having none of it. Really. He's like, if you want power, you have to give something up in exchange. And
I think he mentions the arm specifically.
Yeah, no. He did. I don't think he mentioned the arm, but he pointed. And then it zooms in on the arm, and Asta's like, if it's something that can make me stand on equal footing with Yami now, I'll gladly accept it as a step to get towards being the Wizard King, Magic Hokage.
Like, I can't be the Wizard King if I can't stand.
Pirate Mage.
If I'm not able to make this sacrifice, I can't be the Wizard King kind of thing.
Yeah, he's like, I can't get there without making sacrifices, so I will do this right now. And so it zoomed in on the arm, and then we see the arm he has an arm that is a devil's arm, and he straight up slaps freaking Dante across the face.
He looks the same as when he first fought Dante and got knocked out, except his arm is now like weirdly veiny and muscular.
No, it is completely alien if you go back and look at it.
Well,
like
yeah,
his
like
arm is like completely like
thing.
Yeah, it is like this sleek, like almost robotic looking thing, super sharp and with actual claws on it, and it's jagged at the joints. But on top of that,
it's on the joints.
Yeah, it's got a jagged joint right there. It's just sharp, and then it's like cuts in and then cuts back out. So he looks terrifying, to be honest. But in general, it looks like he also got a little bigger. Like his other arm looks like it got stronger, which is weird because we're not even sure what's happening really. It doesn't look like what's happening with Dante, with the whole like magic flowing through him. It looks like it's replacing him.
Like it's taking over his body. It's like it's kind of like I know we're going to talk about Chainsaw Man in a minute, but it's kind of like giving the future devil being inside Aki's eye. He took his eye to get the power.
Honestly, I'll make a weird analogy after this, but go on.
Oh, that's it. I was just going to say it's kind of like replacing the body parts with his own. Like he took his... Well, he didn't really replace it, but, he took the eye to be able to see to get the power. So it's kind of like that. He took his arm to give him the power.
Okay. I'm going to make a weird analogy. Did you ever watch High School DxD?
The thing with the weird dragon arm thing?
Yeah, it's literally like the dragon arm thing, I think it's going to be. Because the dragon took his arm. And it possessed his arm. And then we get the weird thing where they suck out the magic in that. I'm not saying we're getting a weird finger-sucking scene inside Black Clover soon.
We may.
Secker may do that. We're not sure. I know I immediately jumped to Secker, but she's literally the only one with the power that's equivalent to doing that.
I can see that.
You can understand it now, right? It's like, we're going to... There's more than likely Asta's going to seal the arm away. So that it's not constantly looking demonic. But that arm is not his. Kind of like in High School DxD, they make the arm look like his. The arm's not his, though. Like, underneath, it, like, after they take away the power, it's still the dragon's arm. They just make it look like his again. But yeah, I'm expecting something like that to happen. Like, especially, well, we have somebody who can seal. We have that ability. But yeah, right after this, he just comes in with the giant haymaker cut. And that's what makes it so weird that I do consider this the least hype chapter this week. Like, this is the least impactful while being one of the most impactful chapters recently for Black Clover. It's weird.
It's like he officially started trying to talk to the devil inside him, but it's still just like, okay, we're good.
Yeah, because before it's been like, this is mine. And Hoss is like, no, mine, and then pulling back.
I mean, I want to state again, this is not bad. It's just we got some stuff coming up with these chapters.
This week has been so great, which is why I'm so disappointed. It's not just okay. This is the best place to put it in because Black Clover is going to be on break next week, but not because of Black Clover. Everything's on break next week. Shonen breaks on Shonen breaks on Jump. No, Shonen Jump's on break. Yeah, Shonen Jump's on break. So we're not getting a chapter of anything. We're probably going to still upload something, but we're not getting anything.
You know, at least Chainsaw Man didn't end in a way that makes me want to die and then have to wait 2 weeks to get that new chapter.
Are you sure?
Well,
let's just go into Chainsaw Man 78.
Okay. Yeah, well, that was the end of Black Clover there. He goes in for the cut and the chapter is
it's just over. We didn't see any hit or anything. It's just done.
So yeah. Oh, Chainsaw Man was so good. Like, oh boy.
So yeah, we get a lot more of like this time we get a lot of into Aki's inner world again. So it's very prevalent he's alive because he sees power in it now too.
Mm-hmm. We see that he sees power right by Denji, and then he just starts throwing snowballs.
Yeah, he throws a snowball and it's a gunshot from his arm, and then he gets turned around. I don't remember exactly why it happens, but he gets turned around onto this couple that's right behind. And Denji's suddenly, like, together again. I don't know if, like, power gave him blood or something.
Oh, he pulled the cord.
Oh, again. Yeah, okay. Yeah, revving the engine, I should have thought about that. Like, he's not anemic at the moment. He could totally just heal.
Mm. That's what he did. He just pulled the cord again. I think Aki just happened to turn around because we start seeing other people. Like, he can see the people around him in his mind.
Yeah, like he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't see them like on the street though. They're still in like the mountainous region with snow, and so he just thinks like he's having a snowball fight.
Yeah, and we should mention. I don't know if we did before, but he's back to his like 8-year-old self.
Yeah, it's back before his family got ruined by the gun devil.
Mm-hmm. Like right before he blew up his house. So like, and he's still operating under that assumption. It's in that mindset more like.
Yeah, he is reverted back to 8.
Mm-hmm. So like he's completely pretty much innocent. Like the first thing we see with that is there's I think a mother and her child.
The first one is a couple, and then it's a woman and her child, and then it's just a random guy.
All right, but then like he sees him on the ground and he goes to throw a snowball at him.
And yeah, because they don't look terrified either. They all look like they're having fun with him in his imagination. So he's throwing a snowball, thinking he's just having this big snowball fight, and he eradicates them. Just this big freaking hole through the entire city, and he just flies through it into this. I think it's like a shopping mall. But he turns, he sees this guy, and he fires it. He throws the snowball at him, and then suddenly the guy's dead. And then he turns towards this older man, throws the snowball, and that guy's dead. And this is the way
style is great. I love this manga's style though, because like it looks like a movie.
You can still see it like a movie because it's like it looks like it's cutting away to him as a child throwing the snowball, and the people are gone.
Yeah, like it shows the person's face, it shows the snowball in motion, and then it's just an explosion. Like everything's busted.
Yeah, and then
it's so cool.
Denji jumps over at him, and then he thinks Denji's like jumping in with a snowball, so he turns and he just throws another one while laughing, and throws him through a building. And Denji's like stuck to the back while he turns and he hits somebody else, and then he turns towards Denji, and he's just. I don't think he says it out loud because he's still just a corpse.
Yeah, I don't think he can talk.
Yeah, but he starts talking about how this is the most fun he's had ever. Because his family ignores him. It's all about they pay attention to his brother because his brother has some kind of like weird illness or condition. We haven't had it explained yet.
Probably some immune disease, I would think, since they were keeping him inside, but it's hard to say. They
But
haven't
yeah,
ever.
but he never gets any form of attention. Nobody really pays any mind to him. So he talks about this is the most fun he's ever had.
Mm.
And then it cuts away to Denji just looking at through the crater at all these bodies just stuck into the wall, and it's just such a sad moment.
Mm.
But Denji comes out again, and I think what is it he said? It's like Denji right at the very end he says something, and I think it's like Aki, please don't, and then he gets shot more time. He gets snowball thrown at him, and then he's just on the ground and like completely this side missing, just flat out.
Yeah, his guts are all hanging out.
Yeah,
and that's how the chapter ends. We see him in Aki's mind just laying in the snow, just
laughing.
Mm-hmm. Like he's having a good time.
Yeah, to Aki, this is like they've been hanging out as the best friends either one has ever had, which is just so sad.
And then in reality, he's just hanging out with a bit of his guts outside.
Yeah, he just murdered somebody that obviously inside he thinks of it as is probably his only friend. Mm-hmm. I'm not even sure if he includes power to that level.
I think at this point, not yet. But I would say they're a pretty close-knit group altogether.
It's like this sad alternate world almost where these two could have been best friends. Like they're not, I wouldn't say they're right on top of each other in age. I think Aki's somewhere around like 20, 22.
Yeah, I think because Denji's still 16.
Yeah.
And I think at one point they say he's 3 years his senior.
Because he's old enough to drink in Japan, so he's got to be at least 20. And he's been smoking for years, too.
Mm. But then they said in the beginning when Himeno, or is it Himeno? It's not been long.
She was holding that cigarette for him.
Yeah, and he said, don't give that to a minor. That's bad. So at that point, he was still...
Yeah, whenever he started, he was a minor, but it's been years. He's now addicted to cigarettes. So...
That was a sad scene in the whole thing. It's like, oh, I don't want to smoke cigarette. And then the whole thing, he just shows him just sadly.
Yeah, it's like, why bother?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was during the Infinity Hotel, Infinity Devil arc.
That wasn't... I think we got it after that.
Oh, was it the snake one?
That was when we got introduced to him, her trying to pressure him to the smoking thing in the Infinity Devil. But after that, whenever it's just before she dies, we find out about that she was holding on to the cigarette for him. Mm-hmm. And that she's the one who told him, like, we're not going to live long anyways. Might as well smoke.
You know, I do wonder, do you think some of these, I never thought about it, but are some of these devils nice? In a way, I mean, we've seen some of them, but like the one that was with Himeno, it was holding the cigarette, like part of her somehow was still.
I think that some of them get an attachment
because we know Pochita, he's a good little chainsaw devil, and then the angel devil is not a.
I wouldn't even say we know that Pochita is a good person. Well, we know that he's good to Denji.
Yeah,
because he sees how good Denji is. He is good to Denji. We're not like making a blanket statement whenever we know that he's like supposed to be like this thing everything's afraid of.
Well, I didn't mean it as a blanket statement. I just meant as good to Denji.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
But it's like I would say in general that they can be as good or as bad as the situation is. Because we saw how the Fiends treated Quan Chi. We saw how the Shark Devil Man and Power are. Mm-hmm. It's like I think the
Angel Devil's still a good guy.
Yeah, relatively, because he was like, "I'm not going to help a dying person. I'm a devil first. I'd rather watch him suffer." But if he gets an attachment to you, that was to a stranger. If he gets an attachment to you, that's different.
Well, I wonder if that was part of that, or just because we know from what oh my gosh, I'm blanking on her name. The main villainess, Machina. Oh my gosh, so many names I've had to think about over the last few days. I forgot. But we know when she took him over to kill those people as a test of his powers,
Yeah,
that messed him up. So I wonder if it had more to do with him just like being depressed after that, or that, because he did seem when that
it could
lady.
really go any way, but it's like we've seen that this is kind of true for everybody. Power does not care about random people.
Mhm.
Power cares whenever she gets attached to you.
Mhm.
It's the same thing with the violence devil. It's the same thing with every devil we've seen so far.
I was just wondering because there was the whole scene with the. I can't remember what arc it was in. I think I think it was around the. I can't remember the arc specifically, but it shows the angel devil.
Yeah.
It's he's going to get life force for one of his weapons, and this lady's dying on the street, and he apologizes to her and kills her to use her life for the
Yeah,
weapon.
that was near the end of the last arc.
Was it? Okay, I can't remember exactly where it was.
But that's again after knowing Aki for a little while and after the Bomb Devil and everything. So it's after a little bit of growth. So I could say that might be part of it too.
Mm.
But yeah, we're not sure how devils affect anything yet.
I can't believe I forgot Makina's name. Or Makima. It's Makima. And I don't know why, I just get names fuddled sometimes.
Now I'm lost where we're at, though.
Oh, we got to the end, pretty much. It's where Denji is shot on the ground, and the chapter ends there.
Yeah, I meant what we were talking about, like why we got onto this particular subject, but...
Oh, we're talking about how sad the whole situation with Aki's memory is.
Oh, yeah.
And then how they could have been really good friends.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of an alternate world, kind of like what-if scenario for him.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it is just so depressing. And it's still, how do you predict this?
I didn't predict this is where this... I just thought, oh, they'd fight or something. I didn't expect just random
And
carnage.
I expected this to tear Denji apart. I was not expecting this to, like, tear up the audience as well and to tear up Aki. Like, this is... Oh, it's so good, though.
And then I wonder, like, how do you fight him when he's that strong? Like, he was barely holding... Like, I mean, he was able to dodge some of the snowballs a bit, but, like, his destructive power is insane.
He needs some kind of boost now, which we know you can consume a devil to get a boost. Like, a powerful devil, a devil will get more powerful. So, I don't know. Denji could end up, like, consuming parts of the gun devil and consuming part of that little piece of darkness, any of that. Maybe even Makino.
You know, I wonder, could he, like... I wonder how much into their bodies. I know we're getting off on weird low tangent, but I was just thinking about something. It's like, how much could he eat? You know, like with the gun devil on Aki right now, it's like he's melded into it, but how much is him? Like that part of the gun on his head. Could
well, right
he
now,
eat that without hurting Aki, or is it like his face is as long as that?
No, because it's because it's a fiend. Everything about it is Aki.
Oh,
it's just transforming Aki. It's like power is a fiend. Everything about power is power.
Mm-hmm. Okay, power. I get you. I was just... power. I love Power. Such a dumb name, but I love her so much.
So much better.
That's
than
such
2B.
A simple name.
So.
You said 2B?
What's her name? Sorry.
Well, who we
the girl from the Trigger thing. That she looks like the one we've talked about this before.
Oh, the Darling in the Franxx girl.
Yeah.
02, I think.
02, yeah. Better than 2B too, though.
I really like Nier Automata, though. Okay, we don't need to get off on that.
Yeah, tangent. Like I'm talking aesthetics, anyways, so it doesn't matter. But
though, like well, we don't need to get.
Yeah, let's on topic. This is why everything's been so long. We made a deal. No tangents, either one.
We're trying so hard. We know these videos have been like an hour and a half for 3 chapters. We're trying so... Okay, so now, that was the end of Chainsaw Man.
On to
So
Dr. Stone, 159. Because we can't make a prediction on Chainsaw Man. So, moving on. I was
okay.
really expecting a cutaway.
Mm.
I didn't expect, like, I figured something like this was going to happen. Not every detail of this, but I was really expecting him to make us wait in suspense.
Mm. What he kind of did is like a lot of that is like we get Stanley saying he can hear details about what was it, their voice?
That wasn't Stanley, that was Zenos.
Or was it? I thought that was Stanley saying. Oh no, okay.
Zenos, okay, they figured out that it wasn't Taiju
Yeah, yeah,
that was
yeah.
in charge. It was definitely Senku.
Yeah,
But then
but he didn't know which one was Senko.
Yeah,
Or Senko. Senku.
yeah, they didn't know which one would be Senku. But then
There were three candidates.
Yeah, there. Oh well, before the three candidates, we got to get down.
Sorry,
to that.
getting ahead of myself.
Yeah. So he pulls out a record of because he first of all Stanley asked if he's still sure that he should go after Senku.
Mm-hmm.
And as Zeno thinks about it, he thinks about everything he knows about it, but then he thinks what he gets to, the conclusion he gets to is that Senku wouldn't be a part of what he wants, which we know that Senku definitely wouldn't. So he like reluctantly agrees to kill him, but then Stanley needed information on who to go after. He wasn't sure who it was, so Zeno realizes he has a recording that where Senku did talk. He told everybody to be quiet, but Zeno realized using mathematics, and he could measure the wavelength of the voice and the pitch of the voice, and using mathematics based off the reverberation and everything else, he could figure out roughly how tall he is.
That sounds insane to me. I was reading that and I'm like, this is some pseudo garbage.
It's not, though.
Is it really not?
It's not. Now you can't do it. You can't do it mentally. There's no way you could do that, and you couldn't do that quickly. But you could figure out roughly how tall somebody is. I'm talking within like a 4-inch variance either way.
Oh wow! And we saw that he got it like what? Spot
yeah,
on.
he said I think he could get it between like 2 inches either way. But then he also took what he knew about Senku. He's like, okay, it's definitely not below this because he can grow taller, but he wouldn't be shorter. So he's got to be above 5'7".
And we know he's 19.
Yeah,
he goes into that.
Yeah, he's like 5'7", 19 male, and then I think he gave like a small description. And so that gave it to 3 candidates. So but then we get the captain yelling that there's a sniper, which
sends everybody running.
It makes Aluna specifically panic. She's like, oh no, they already know that there's a sniper, but how? And then she just looks dead ass at Stanley, which is the worst thing you could possibly do if you're the infiltrator. And Stanley's immediately like, no, don't look at me. And then he's like, wait, all these people have no idea. They've never been on a battlefield. They wouldn't know how to react to a sniper. I'm going to look for the one who's acting the most rationally out of all the irrational stuff. So out of the 3 candidates that he had, he was looking around. One is turning away, panicking. The other one's like running while looking back. One is acting casual and looking dead ass at him. And that's Senku. And he's like, oh, that must be you, Senku Ishigami.
Which we then see Senku. He, I think what happens is he dives down.
Yeah, he after realizing there's a sniper, he looks to figure out where they're talking about. He finds the spot that would be the most likely for him. So he dives at the science cart that I forgot it was still up there, but of course it is. He just made ice cream. But what did he grab? He grabbed potato starch, water, and I can't remember what else.
It was some other like chemical, I think.
No, it's just a basic house thing.
Was it house?
Yeah, because what he made is basically...
Well, he got a sack, he got the potatoes, and he got some water.
Yeah, the potato starch.
He put the stuff in the bag, with the potatoes, and it
And he
made like a
shook it, and
make.
he quickly made it wouldn't set that fast, I don't think, but he made basically ballistic jelly.
We got to rule a cool some of this stuff.
Yeah, which ballistic jelly. Like if you watch MythBusters, you've seen ballistic
Yeah.
jelly before. Okay, but what he's starts thinking about immediately, like I don't know why this would immediately occur to him. He's like, it was being tested at during his current time before everything happened, whether ballistic jelly under pressure would be a useful as a ballistic vest or anything else. Like he thought that if we take they were already testing this and found it to show results. They hadn't had enough results as to see whether they should make a bulletproof vest out of it or not. That if you do put it under pressure and then and stress at the same time, it reacts. It will hold against a bullet pretty well. And during this time, we just get this freaking amazing scene of the bullet cutting out of the trees. It shreds the trees because it's a 50 caliber shot. Then it goes through the metal on the boat. It cracks and splinters out splinters, so it starts like shotgun pellets now. And it pierces that bag like 7 times, and we do get to see blood behind it. Now,
Which means it pierced him, at least somewhat.
It did, but I'm saying, it's probably just skin deep. Like, it's going to be bruised, and it's going to have little pieces in it. But he definitely didn't take anything lethal, because that would have slowed it. It didn't stop it, which is obviously probably wasn't going to.
But I think we saw it hit the bag, and you can tell it stopped, at least somewhat.
Yeah, you can just see the blood. So you can see that it slowed. It probably stopped a bunch of them. What I think it did is it stopped all the shrapnel, and the actual shot pierced a little. But it probably just got like that far into the skin. It's probably not too bad.
Man, that art was fantastic, though. Like, I was surprised. I mean, Boichi's art is always great, but man, the detail on that bullet was crazy. I love that.
And going back to Stanley, like what we get to hear about the perspective of a sniper, it's like he's going against me in vectored angles because that's the most rational way to get away from me, the bullet. But that tells me exactly mathematically where you are.
Yeah.
I already had this yardstick here, so I know how far everything is. I can tell now exactly where you would dive to get out of cover from me from the ankles. So that tells me where you're at, and I don't have to fire around things because he has such a powerful gun. He can just go through things.
Man,
it makes you think how rationally most people would probably act about this kind of thing. Like if a sniper was trained on you and you ducked for cover, you wouldn't think, oh, my cover tells people where I am. Like, if my cover's not bulletproof, then I'm gonna die.
Yeah. I never thought, like, you would do your best to hide, but it's like, he probably...
It's like would you, if you had a gun pointed at you right now, would you hide behind a plaster wall? Yes, but if it's like a plaster half wall, he knows where to hit you.
Just gotta aim.
And it's plaster. It made you feel safe. It's not safe.
It's like that whole thing with the gunfights in movies where they hide behind the car doors.
Yeah.
That works about as well as you...
Yeah, it might slow a bullet. It's not stopping a bullet.
It's like none of that would... You'd be shredded like Swiss cheese at a point.
Yeah. But, that's where Dr. Stone ends.
Yeah, it ends on Senku getting hit back into
Do you think we're going to cut back? Or do you think this is where we're going to cut away? Because now I can see it going either way. They could cut back to him because there's this whole crisis moment. Because Stanley's position's given away. We're going to have to see what he's going to do about that. Whether he's going to keep trying to go after Senku or not. Senku is hurt. So now he has to... And another thing we don't know is if Stanley's gun has to be like manually reloaded. Like you have to break the barrel, put in gunpowder, put in... ram, put in the bullet, and then put in wadding at the end. and then put it back. Like, is it that kind of gun? Is it a break neck where he can just put it in and then break it back? Or is it a one where he can just slam a bullet in? Or does it have a clip? We don't know much about this gun at all.
Mhm.
So it'll be nice to figure out the limitations of Xenos technology so far.
Yeah, we've been real back and forth on the whole like cutaway, non-cutaway things.
I
Like,
really thought it was going to be a cutaway because it's like that was the best tense moment to cut away on.
mhm,
This one's a little iffy because it is a good one. It's like we're going to have a question the
mhm,
entire time of is Senku okay or not
mhm,
if you cut away to Chrome. It's kind of like right now with Black Clover. We cut away from Vanessa and everybody else right when the bombs blew up.
mhm. And we
We
don't know
don't know
anything.
anything about that. It's in the middle of a crisis it's in the back of our minds the entire time we're looking at the news stuff.
Mhm. But we don't know anything, so it's like I don't know. I hope that it honestly doesn't because I want to see what was on here. Because I'm just they've been I've
I,
noticed that with the chapter, when he says sniper, you can so they were kind of doing different viewpoints with that
yeah,
because they've ended on the sniper line from the captain before, which means that this part with Stanley was before that point,
yeah.
and we're seeing what was going on with that.
So we're
So,
seeing each side a little bit, and it's this chapter. It kind of flips around. I think it flipped like 3 times. It's like it went from Senku to Luna and Stanley. It just switched between all of those.
mhm.
It, that's what throws off the perception of time a little bit because it looks like Senku dropped to the floor and made that thing like instantaneously after the bullet got shot.
Mhm.
But it's really a kind of a cut back instead of a cut to.
Mhm. It would take a second to make that because you'd have
Yeah,
to.
because it looks like the second that he heard, he turned, he looked to try to figure out where the sniper would be, and then he immediately started jumping to what he was going to do, like his entire plan.
Mhm.
Which that makes sense too, because it would probably take Stanley a second to figure out where to, like he said, uh,
He
the way
didn't
that
know which of the
Senku's
three
done
it was.
and the way that Senku was ducking, it made perfect rational sense. Like he's
Mhm.
going mathematically, which that worked for Stanley too. But he'd take a second for him to go, okay, he ducked here, he probably crawled here, so he's standing there.
Mhm. Yeah, it says I could believe that it took that. And then who's to say? Because I've seen some weird stuff where you mix it,
Mm-hmm.
and like I mean, it wouldn't go super quick, but it goes quicker than you think it would.
Yeah,
So I could see that little bit having enough time, especially with something like the potato starch in the bag
yeah,
like that, having enough to make it that jelly. I mean,
yeah.
like you said, it's like,
That's what I think is the problem with what happened with Senku. Is like
mm,
why he got wounded is he probably like Senku knows everything. It's kind of the whole point of this manga. But I think he's probably underestimated how fast the ballistic jelly was going to set.
mm.
Which I don't think they actually called it ballistic jelly, but that is actually what he made.
Yeah, I think they actually do call it ballistic jelly because they said they're working or something like it because they
I
said
think
they
he said
were
that they were working on using these materials on to make
bulletproof vests.
bulletproof vests. But I don't think they said that it was ballistic jelly. But yeah, that's what he's making.
Mm.
But
I
yeah,
love this series though. It's
you learn so much from it. It's so great. And one of my favorite parts about it is it'll send you on like a little googling fit about a bunch of stuff.
mhm.
Like I
Okay.
spent like 3 hours googling on how to make cola.
Mhm.
Whenever they did that part, it's like I trying to figure out how to make cola without modern tools, which is weirdly what I wanted to figure out how easy and how hard that would be. It is surprisingly crazy how little there is about that.
Huh. Interesting. So you weren't able to find much?
I ended up finding some stuff. It's like you have to do some extrapolation to figure it out because nobody just posted it. You have to
Mm.
figure it out yourself. But I think now there's some stuff, but it's been almost a year or two since that was in even the anime.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, time is weird.
Yeah.
like I have gotten, I swear, like the whole virus thing, it finally got to me. Like a few weeks ago, it's like, oh man, all these people talking about it. It's like,
But it's
oh, I
been
forgot
happening
what
for
time,
it's been happening for like 4 months. It's
and
been
it just
crazy.
got to me. It's like, oh my gosh.
It's especially weird since my job's considered essential work. I have to still go every day, so it's like it's weird because I see it at the same time, like because I have to wear a mask every single day. But weirdly, it's like my life's only been inconvenienced. It's not been stopped and halted, which I
Mm,
realize I'm lucky about that. But still, it's like it kind of screws with your perception.
mm.
But
Yeah.
getting off depressing topics to get to depressing topics, My Hero Academia 278. We start
Okay.
with Jiro. Yay, Jiro!
My man.
My favorite freaking character. I have irrationally loved her for forever, and you knew it. I've talked about her in Kaminari when nobody cared about her in Kaminari.
They were your ship. I'm never saying that
They're
again. Forget I
like,
said that.
if I have an aesthetic in anything, it is electric powers, cool rocker outfits. These two hit the bill dead on.
Oh, it's a cool chapter. I'm excited to get more side character action, though. It's odd because like we got that big fight with Shigaraki, and I'm still like, I want to see my side characters, man.
Yeah,
Just give me my side characters.
I love how we immediately cut to with Gigantomachina, and
Mm,
the League of Villains talks about nobody notices we're on the back. Like,
mm.
and first you said on the last chapter you hadn't seen them back there.
I
Yeah,
went and saw them afterwards. I
yeah,
went
because
and
you can.
looked, and yeah.
Mr. Compress's top hat is the easiest way to spot them.
Mm,
Yeah, they're up there on the back, all of them getting ready for this. While Gigantomachina is pushing back Mount Lady,
mm.
which Mount Lady's been was really funny in this chapter. Like, I love that. I haven't been this clingy since middle school. But
What's
yeah,
funny is he's not even inconvenienced.
he
Like
doesn't
she's
even
trying
he
to,
acts like he doesn't even notice she's there that much because
like all these like his master's finally awake, and he just keeps going.
yeah, he keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. She's not holding very well at all. And then Kamui Woods shows up like Spider-Man with Midnight on his back.
Mm,
And Midnight's
mm.
like, okay, we need to suppress this quickly because I think they failed over at Jenku, which I
Yeah.
can't even. Was that the name of the hospital?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, so I think they failed over there. We have to stop this now before he destroys the city.
Mm,
And they're like, there's nothing we can do against something this big. Because he's
mm.
bigger than Mount Lady.
Yeah, they say that in this chapter. Like
Yeah.
as big as she is, he's bigger. And
But
it's like, oh my god.
she's like, oh, we have to stop him here. So Conway Woods is like, we can't hold him. What are you suggesting? And she's like, get me close, and then like bites off her entire like front half of her outfit, which I'm guessing we knew it was like a skin tight suit, but weirdly this made me realize something. Her suit is either really easily rippable, or it's made out
Mm.
of like probably like candy floss or something. I think it's edible
Hmm.
to make it easier for her.
What does
It's
she
like
eat?
either like easily. It's either like made to tear really, really easy. It's like super flimsy or something,
Mm.
but it's got to hold in her pheromones because that's the whole point of her power is the pheromones.
Yeah.
But it's also made to tear away easy, in huge batches so that she can put out more of her pheromones.
I don't think she's normally. I think she still used her hand here, so I would say it's
No,
just
she
like
took her mouth and she ripped across her chest.
I couldn't remember if it
Yeah,
was
she just takes her mouth and rips across her chest because she's holding on to Kamui Woods.
Yeah.
She can't reach. Like, she can't put an arm up or she'll fall off.
So I'm gonna say that it's probably just a flimsy material, just really easy for tearing.
But
I mean, it
it's
could
such
be
a cool
candy
little
floss, it could be
detail,
fun.
though, at the same time.
Mm.
It's like, yeah, we got the whole explanation of Lemillion's outfit is really, really particular. about because it has to be made out of his hair to work with his quirk for him to have clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I didn't think about how well, really, it's convoluted, but it's like it would have to be for her kind of outfit to be a useful gadget for her,
Mm-hmm.
plus to actually like function, because it's got to hold against her. But then for her to be, if she needs the pheromones quickly, instead of just
Mm-hmm.
releasing a little bit from like the edge of a piece of clothing, she'd need to tear away a chunk.
Yeah, it's not like you could just like like pull out your sleeve or something.
Yeah, and it
You got
can't
to
be made
tear
to
away.
like, oh, I need to have patches that I pull off. Because if she gets damaged in any way, she needs to be able to open it any way she can. And it having like a flap with Velcro that she has to like pull open,
Mm.
that would make things harder for her. So just having it so that you can rip it anywhere or
Mm.
eat it or anything, like whatever it is, that's just such a cool little detail to me.
Mm.
But yeah, we get to see Kamui Woods like jumping up and he's grabbing onto like the side of Gigantomachina, and Mount Lady's like reaching forward to. I mean, not Mount Lady. Midnight's jumping forward to like Mount Lady to like start doing the pheromones. Then
Mm.
Dobby shows up at the side and just blasts Kamui Woods, who might possibly be dead because he's a wooden person on fire.
It's possible. I
And
like.
Dobby's just like laughing, like got one.
I love Dobby. Like he's just a stone cold murderer. He
Yeah,
does not
but
care.
I think she used her whip though. Like Midnight used her whip to grab onto Gigantomachina because right after that, Mr. Compress like throws out some of his beads,
Oh
and
yeah,
they
and
turn
they
into
get
giant pieces of rubble, and she's like, "Oh crap!" And then
him.
slams into him and then falls with all of them on top of her.
Mm.
So right after that, it cuts over to the kids.
Yeah, we got Momo, Jiro, I think Kaminari, and Sero and Minato.
Yeah, and so
I think is our group
they're
here.
like, "What do you mean that something's heading this way and quickly?" So um, Yaoyorozu starts taking over control pretty fast. She's like, "Okay, I need to know how fast this is coming. Can you and I forgot the one kid's name was Tentacle.
I know. I did too. I was like, what? Who is this?
Like he's a cool character. I love his whole like multi-arm thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I forgot his name completely.
Oh, I forgot he was there.
I
I was
saw him in the
listed.
background. He's a really cool character, and I was like, yeah, of course he'd be there. He's one of the most useful surveillance people.
Mm-hmm. I feel bad that like I listed all those people and I just I remembered Mineta, but I forgot that guy.
Yeah,
Ain't that something? That's embarrassing. But anyway,
but yeah, she's like, I need to know how soon they're gonna be here. And like, it's going to be in like 10 seconds. And
yeah,
then
he's moving.
then Momo suddenly gets a call. Or, I mean,
Mhm.
Yaoyorozu, not Momo. Sorry, uh, but gets a call and it's from Midnight. And Midnight's like, I need you to start making a sedative.
Yeah,
It's
she's
like,
really messed up. We
yeah,
see.
she's like bleeding from all over and just like dragging herself forward. She's like, I'm going to need you to make a sedative. We have to stop this thing. It's
Mhm.
like, it's up to you. And then it cuts away and she's like, Euro's like, I don't understand. Midnight, and just starts yelling. And during all of this, we saw like a couple of the Liberation Army walking up to her. This one huge dude wearing a gas mask with like fire coming out of his hands on both sides. It's like, leave Midnight to me. And then she's
Mhm.
like, just do what adults say. And that was the last thing she said, I think.
Yeah, and then it cuts away from her and it goes back to the group of kids.
Yeah.
So we don't see what happened to her with that guy.
So, Yaoyorozu, instead of freezing up like she normally does, since she's grown so much recently, she immediately started thinking about what to do, and she asked for Tentacle and Jiro to start trying to figure out a listen for vibrations to figure out how tall it is.
Mhm.
So, because she could guess the weight, that was pretty easy enough. Because she has to physically make a sedative out of this. So they
I
end up
still
figuring out
have to wonder. This is a giant man. What kind of sedative are you gonna make that'll work?
Oh, I don't know, but that's why she needed exact freaking measurements.
Mhm.
But yeah, they end up finding out he's like a little over 25 meters tall, which is insane. He's like as yeah, he's like as tall as a colossal titan.
They're 60, so he's about half.
Yeah, half. But he's like hunched over, and he's that fucking huge. Oh, it's crazy.
I mean, I think I always get confused on the math because I looked up meters and they're about 3 feet. So
Yeah,
he's about 100. The Colossal Titan would be about 180 feet tall, I guess.
yeah,
But that would make Gigantomachia 75 feet tall,
yeah.
which is still.
He's insane. But and we find out that's bigger than Mount Lady's max limit, which that's cool. But we should probably talk about that. What happened with him? Okay, they were worried because she wasn't going to create the sedative in time. So, because she's trying to get all this information, and it was going to be less than 10 seconds, and then suddenly it gets a hold up. Because before this, he'd said the shortest distance to Masters that way, and he threw Mount Lady, and like just crushed everything. She's really hurt. But then suddenly Kamui Woods is back. He's still like burned everywhere. But he's like on sitting on top of her head, and then she grabbed onto both of Gigantomachina's ankles, and then he wraps her hands around it so she can't let go. And that's when we get the line of, I haven't been this clingy since I was in middle school. She's like coated in blood, but she's pulling him back so it'll take longer. And that's all she can do.
Lady.
Yeah, I love how much work she actually puts in for being like what people consider like a tier C kind of pro hero. She's so useful.
Like she's standing up to this gigantic monster man and like holding him off as best she can. It's
Him, and then she stood up against for All For One. That she is so cool, despite being as bad as Mineta.
It's like one of the first heroes you ever see in the whole series, and she's still holding up her end of the deal.
Yeah, her and Kamui Woods, like they're still so useful. But Yarurozu makes, I think so far we saw like 4 sedatives. So she has one, and then she gives one to Momo, she gives one to Kirishima, and then she gives one to, I think it was Mineta, of all people.
We gotta trust our great boy.
That's not a bad idea, though.
It's
like
not,
you put, if he attaches it to one of the great balls, he can throw it. So
I mean, it's a solid plan. It's just whenever you gotta trust the great boy, you're like, oh.
I like Great Boy. I think I'm one of the few people who like him because I find him so entertaining. Like he's just this tiny little punching bag pervert, and it's kind of fun to see him grow as a person because he's not growing out of being a degenerate. He's just growing into being less of a degenerate.
I think I get tired of his stick a bit, but at the same time, I like how it's like that one creepy high schooler kid.
Yeah, because he's so real. Like, there was that one kid in every school. And he is that one kid.
I still think of that time when they first got in the dorms, I think. I can't remember if it was when they first
he's like, come on in, girls.
like, we're not going in there.
Yeah, we're not touching that with a 10-foot pole, so there we go.
It'd be really funny if they ever actually went in there and it's the most normal room in the whole thing.
You know it isn't. You know there's porn on every single surface that isn't also covered with something else.
I swear there's probably some kind of weird, either body pillow or doll in that room.
It's probably of like Mount Lady and Midnight. I love whenever he actually he became the sidekick of Mount Lady and he was just vacuuming and cleaning while she just sat there reading manga and eating chips.
He thought he would do cool stuff.
He thought he'd get to be a little pervert, and instead he got to be a little maid because she's just as bad as him.
I love this series. Man. But yeah, I'm trying to remember where the chapter ends, because we get that scene of Mountain Lady holding on to Gigantomachia's ankles.
Yeah.
But I can't remember where it ends. I think it was just a scene with a panel of Yarurozu.
Yeah, I think it was just Yarurozu talking about how she has a plan and it'll work. That's where that cuts away. And honestly, everything about this has just been. It made me think more about how the pro heroes are, because it was like at first it's like, oh, these are people who've been introduced a while ago. He probably didn't think about a lot of these concepts, but then you get stuff like what happened with Midnight, and it's like, no, it was right in front of you, and you didn't think about it because you don't have that power. You wouldn't think what would be useful for that.
Well, to be fair, we've only seen her in like training missions for
Yeah,
most of the stuff too. So it's like you never get to see her use much of her power in a real situation.
exactly. We've
So
never seen most of these people be serious. The ones we have, like Eraserhead, we know his biggest helpful things are his goggles and his
mm,
scarf.
mm.
But as for other people, like, have we seen Vlad do much? No. I want to see what Vlad's capable of.
Mm.
Like, because he is a teacher of the other classroom. He's got to be pretty powerful.
You would think so, but we only
Yeah, we know
we
what his power is with the blood. It's just we haven't seen anything on what he's done with it yet. And I think it's going to be really cool.
mm.
But ooh, we haven't seen too much of like what Kamui Woods has in the way of gear. He might not have any gear. He might be one of the people who relies a lot on his power. Like All Might talked about, he used to rely on gear, but then he went 100% All Might.
Mm.
Like,
The gear
100%
slowed him down.
natural. Yeah.
It's like he's so
That's
strong the gear was just a hindrance.
yeah.
It's like ain't that
It's like it can't actually keep up with you for long. It'll help. It works as handicaps and stopgaps, but in the end, it won't keep up with that power. And it's like, okay, that's not true for anyone else's power at all.
mm.
And we get to see that a lot with Class 1A leveling up their gear and learning more about it, especially so far Izuku. But we haven't gotten anything really with pro heroes, and I'm really excited to see more of it.
But I do wonder, like, how many people do you think he'll kill a bunch of people at this point? Because he killed that one, what was his name? Spinner?
Oh,
I
we
think.
didn't even talk about Redestro yet.
Oh yeah, I was thinking he showed up.
Yeah.
But I couldn't remember the context, so I didn't think if I should mention it because.
But yeah, Redestro showed up, and he's fighting against Edgeshot, which that's
yeah.
awesome. But he's really crushing Edgeshot too. Like Edgeshot's surviving. He doesn't look like he's getting wounded, but he's definitely not winning currently. And we get to hear he gets mad because he's like, the only reason Gigantomachina would be heading in that direction is if you woke up Shigaraki, which means you woke him up in a imperfected state. And he's like, how dare you do this to our savior?
Yeah. He was not.
Which just, with his power stress, that's just going to make him more powerful. Which, we already know there's a weakness to him right now. The legs are a weakness to him. Because they're just so poorly made. Legs. Yeah. And they're poorly made. It's not like it's made by a really good, like, high-quality hero gear group. It's just robotic prosthetics he can walk around with, but they're not geared for this kind of work.
Plus, it's like I imagine they're not built to. They may have not been built to withstand the kind of like stress they'd be put under, like in his giant form, because he turns into a big, muscly man when he gets.
Yeah, and they're obviously made that they can adapt to the size, because they work on him whenever he's normal size, and they work on him now. But
oh yeah, true.
That's got to come with some weaknesses. But as for what I hoping happens with the next chapter. Honestly, I'm fine with any one of the viewpoints they have set up so far. Like, you could cut back to Ochako. You can stay right here with Momo. Why do I keep saying Momo? Yarurosu.
Well, same difference.
Yeah.
It's just a nickname.
But, I
don't even remember what...
I don't remember what her hero name is.
The Creati. They said it in the chapter. I thought that was funny. Creati.
That's such an uncreative name for someone who's supposed to be creative, which that's ironic. But yeah, you can stay right here with your Yarurozu. You can cut over to Ochako, or you can go back to Deku. I don't care what you do. All of these sound super interesting at the moment. Like I
I
know,
would say they're gonna stick with Yaoyorozu probably because we've got like 3 or 4. I
yeah,
mean,
but
the
this is
Shigaraki
also
stuff is huge, but they spent like 3 or 4 chapters on it.
that's why I think it might be if there's a cutaway, which I really hope there isn't, but if there's a cutaway, it's probably going to be over to Ochiko
Mm.
because she just got left in the dust by Deku like 4 chapters ago. In
She's
the
just like
middle of a
standing.
city that's dealing with a huge crisis of people just getting outright just got murdered. The
Mm.
entire city's dust on one half. It's like there are still people panicking, trying to get out of there, and they're just there. And Deku ran off because you have to deal with Shigaraki, but she doesn't even know that's what's happening.
She just knows that he ran
He's
off
like,
and
I
he's like
have
left
to
her
do
there.
something, and then she just sees him go.
It's like,
So,
sorry, I'll be back. And like, he didn't
like,
even
BRB,
explain.
deal with you later.
Comes
But
back a
yeah,
bloodied husk. And they're
there's
just like,
so much that can be happening right now in the city that we should really know about.
mm.
But other than that, there's not too much else that was happening. There's stuff that was happening around the legs of Gigantomachina, like Cementos encased the ice dude.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I was gonna mention the ice dude showed up.
Yeah, but it's like that happened and it's done with already. And like, I do kind of believe that's where the last we're going to see the ice dude for this arc.
I love how we go through things. You know, it's like we get stuff like we got ice dude, but then we can clearly remember some people's names. It's like we just toss some of these names out. Like I forgot singing Makima's name, but I remembered. But anyway,
There's
yeah,
some
it's
people
just,
we don't have names for, and other people that their names don't matter. So, it's like, does Ice Dude probably have a name that we got told? Yeah, but does
I think they
anyone?
said it this chapter, but I honestly forgot it. I just call him ice dude.
Yeah, it's like that's what he's more known as in the community. Everyone knows.
Yeah, but we get that it was funny with that Cementos panel you're talking about.
Yeah,
Because I didn't realize that was Cementos for a second. I was
really?
like, what am I looking at?
Oh, I
And then
forgot
saw,
the last person who got the sedative was Mudman, who is cement toss but worse.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He's just like, here, Mudman. It's not, they give it to him. I still like they have we said 4 sedatives?
yeah, it was 4 so far.
Like I gotta wonder, like I remember there was a thing
She's
in
definitely probably going to make one for each of them, but that's the 4 we've seen so far.
I don't know what she made it out of to affect him. I mean, he's giant. I can't imagine it would take
It's
less
probably
than,
like just elephant tranquilizer, like just tranquilizer, and it's just in the amount she needed.
that's probably like she just did it according to his
Yeah,
height.
because she did it height and weight. That's all she needed to figure that out. So she just made doses that would affect something that big.
And they're probably just going to hope that one of them, that's probably why they made so many, is probably just to
Yeah,
hope
it's
that one
probably
of them
trying
gets
to just gear up so one of them gets a lucky hit in. And I
It's
say
gonna-
lucky hit. It looks like it's a pill that she made, not like a dart. So they're probably gonna have to put it in his mouth.
which is gonna
Easier
be-
said than done because the League of Villains is on its back.
I mean, you have a guy like Compress that can do whatever he wants. You got Dobby that has no problem setting you on fire.
Yeah, Dobby will kill you. Toga will kill you. Compress will maybe kill you. The only one who had like any form of restraint is gone now.
Oh man, that sucked. That was a good chapter, but that sucked.
Oh, well, I guess there's the lizard guy, but yeah, hey, we haven't
Wait,
even.
What was that?
Spinner.
I said Spinner earlier for that hero. What was that guy's? Was it Crusher? The guy
Crust.
that died for Aizawa. Crust. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
can't
Crust and
remember his name.
Deadshot died.
I just couldn't remember his name. I was like, who is this again? And I knew Spinner's the lizard, so I couldn't.
Yeah, but Spinner's
I knew that
up there. His morals are a little ambiguous because he's very much following what Stain wants, but even that's getting questioned right now. But it's like, how far is he questioning it?
It's like,
Would he ignore taking out somebody for the league? I don't think so.
he went like, I think he had. I can't
He
remember.
had
It's
some of
been
the
a while.
most during the My Villain Academia thing, he was the one who had more character growth than like power growth. Like Toga and Shigaraki exploded with power. Twice just got over his mental problems. And then, I don't. Twice. Sad moment for Twice.
No.
I love Twice.
Oh man, that was a rough one. It was a really good chapter, but that chapter was just that hurt me.
We really haven't gotten anything from Mr. Compress in a long time, though.
He's just a good utility guy. Like he can.
Yeah, with the sleight of hand plus the ability to like, he can compress anything into a marble size. Just keep it in like the glass beads. That combined with the sleight of hand, it's just so useful.
I mean, like, he crushed Midnight under rocks.
Yeah, he can hold things to be weapons, or he can just imprison you. You don't die if you get turned into one of those. We've seen. So it's just all around. He's such a good utility. And then Toga is just a powerhouse, to be honest. Now that she can use the abilities of the people that she takes the blood from, she's terrifying.
I really wish she had kept the eye patch. I really wish she had kept the eye patch. I
think she's going to make Twice. Like, I really, really, really think she will. If she finds anything, like, I didn't double check. Does she have his mask?
I think she took it.
If she has the mask and she consumes his blood, since it seems to be tied directly to how much she's like attached to you, she's so attached to Twice. If she used Twice's power to make Twice, like, because that was the whole problem with his mental state, anyways, is he thought he might be a clone. So if she made a clone that didn't think it was a clone, it would basically be Twice.
That would be
a way to bring back a character that would be so sad at the same time, because it's like he's dead and gone. This would be painful to him. The worst part is though it's just showing like her obsession, and it's so sad. I could see it totally happening. It makes a perfect sense for her to do something like that. But it's one of the few ways
I would be stuff going on.
Yeah,
it's like there's so many different things you could tackle.
And this would be one of the few ways I'd be happy with a character coming back from the dead. I mean, it's not like how Boruto did Jiraiya.
We don't talk about that. We're going to
pretend it's not happening. We're going to pretend that's not happening right now. But but yeah, this is, I could see.
That made me so sad. Why'd you bring that up? That was awful.
I'm sorry. Think about that. But it's like, this would be a net negative, though. It's like this. It shows more about Toga. It would be physically painful for Twice if he knew about it. And if this thing actually thinks like Twice, it would be painful for it. But it would show like the rapid deterioration in her mental state. And her inability to let things go. Which is already a thing we've seen. But yeah, I'm super interested in how the story's going with this. I'm fine with it doing a cutaway. I'd rather it not. I really want to see what the student plan is against Gigantomachina. I really thought it was going to make it into the city. If it doesn't make it into the city with Ochiko, then I don't know what's happening. I really thought that she might be useful to contain, and I didn't even think about Yaoyorozu because, well, I honestly forgot she went that way. I thought she was at the hospital.
I still think they're going to use her gravity powers to do something.
She's literally, this is the perfect moment for her because she's got the perfect power for a crisis.
Especially with something like, I mean, like I said, he is a big person. So having a gravity power, they could just nullify that would be crazy in a situation where they have to sedate
this
him.
Disaster Zone is literally the thing she's been training for. And then she's been training to fight on top of it. So a disaster zone that is a war zone is her element. Like, if you don't do something with her, that is criminal to the character almost.
Mm. I would hope they do because they've been showing her every few chapters, and I'm just like, I want her to do something.
Yeah.
I love this character.
Now, cutting over to One Piece.
Which One Piece was crazy.
This is the most hyped chapter this week. Yeah, oh my god, where did this even start?
Okay, so let's see. What did we start with?
I think it started on top of the mountain, right? Outside?
Oh yeah, because they go to the they start on top of the mountain and then
Yeah, they walk
Kazu.
up. They walk up to the door. It looks like they picked the upper door, which I don't know if that's important or not, but it looks like they picked the upper door.
Well, I think they said the upper door leads to Kaido's palace, doesn't it?
I don't know if they said. I think they just said two doors, but they might have said the upper door led to his palace. But yeah, it looks like they went to the upper door, and then as they walk up, the doors just swing open, and out come these two painted horses with a headless samurai. Behind them
So cool.
was they look amazing. Contra is standing in between them, like flanked on both sides, and it's surrounded by gifters. So he brought out a task force for what he. Now we already know that they didn't think the samurai were there, but obviously Conjuro was like, "No, I know exactly what they would do."
Which they did exactly.
But yeah, he comes out of it, and then Izo makes one of the first comments about it. It's like, look at he's like, oh, look at the artful depiction of what you these
Headless samurai.
Headless samurai. How poetic.
I love Izo.
But then they start asking about. I think they asked about Momo.
Yeah, because he talks about how he had captured him and beat him up.
Yeah, because Momo got whenever he picked up that knife, he apparently used it to cut the rope secretly, and then he stabbed Conjuro in the hand, which it's barely even a prick into
It's
his
just
hand.
like a
Like we see a
Band-Aid.
little tiny Band-Aid on it, and then Conjuro starts bragging about beating him so hard he thought he killed him. But then he was surprised, and he said it must have been Odin's blood that kept him alive. And Kiku just over there tearing up. It's like, but suddenly just takes this like deep breath and then pulls on that Oni, the demon mask helmet.
Yeah.
And it's like, this sword, the thing that's special about this sword is it'll inflict wounds onto your soul so that you'll be screaming in agony like as the snow falls. And then it comes up Kiku Nojo of the falling snow, which was kind of terrifying.
Man,
But yeah,
it's like so many good character moments in this too.
but yeah, she draws the sword. But we also see that Irashi and Nekomamushi are talking. It's like Irashi asked Neko about the gun hand, which I don't know what it is. It looks kind of like a blunderbuss, but it's like small. It's like, I'm not sure. It's not a Gatling gun. It's double barreled, so it's not a pistol. But I think it's like a blunderbuss. So he's gonna have to like load it from the front. I don't doubt it's gonna crack like a shotgun. But yeah, he's like, "Oh, that's when did you get that, Cat?" He's like, "Oh, I thought this would be nifty." And then they both start attacking to the gifters because this fight starts commencing. And then Nick Mushi's like, "So when did you get that?" And then you see this sword leg come across. He's like, "Oh, I thought this would be pretty nifty too." And then he got cross. So I freaking love the freaking knife peg leg. I was so happy when I saw that.
You were counting on that this whole
I
time.
wanted that. Like, whenever I saw that Negurushi had a freaking gun arm, I'm like, I want a sword leg. I want a sword leg. And I got a sword leg, and I'm content with everything now. But we get this awesome clash between Kiku and Conjuro. It's like there's a huge, you can see like a concussive force around them. It's not hockey. It's the power in how they hit each other. So this fight is on, and it looks amazing. Like Izo even like takes out one of the flick locks and just cocks it. It's like, yep, knew this is gonna happen. Like, I am surprised by nothing. Wasn't even surprised by Kondro being the traitor. He just showed up. They had no time to tell him. He's just like, yep, that happened.
It's like he always suspected him, probably.
That's what it feels like.
Well, honestly, if a guy looked like that, would you not suspect him of being a traitor?
Yeah, he is a little creepy.
I mean, you look at like all the other swordsmen, and then you look at him, and you're like, yeah, he totally. Oh no, something about him gives me the creeps, even though he beats children, and you know, I don't know where I was going with this. We should have not gone.
But then it cuts up to the attic again with Yamato and
Luffy.
Yeah, Luffy. I'm trying to remember what was happening. It's like, Luffy brings up, you're not a Kozukyo. There's only one of those. And, you're not it. And then Yamato's like, I guess you're more of a Kozukyo than I am, but still. And then, I cannot remember the order of this conversation anymore, for the life of me. But it's like,
which one are you talking about?
The one with Yamato. But it's, Yamato talks about, Yamato wanted to go out to sea with Ace, and immediately brings up, you're my, Kozuki, brings up, this is what Kozuki Oden would do, but I'm gonna make you take me.
Mm.
And Luffy didn't even argue, which surprised me, and like, but yeah, he didn't argue about it, he's just like, well, why haven't you left already? Mm. And then, that's when Yamato holds up the hands. Like, we saw the shackles before, just figured it was part of the Odin outfit. Apparently, Yamato's been wearing those bracelets for years. Kaido said that there may or may not be a bomb. That you will only find out when you try to leave. And you'll lose both your hands if you do. Mm. And Yamato's not sure if it's true or not. Thinks it might be because, like, Kaido wouldn't lie about something like this. This is straight up his alley.
But then he also wonders if he'd blow up his own son.
Yeah, but Luffy looks at him and is like, I can take those off for you. And was like, yeah, ha, 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 ha. We're not risking that. And he's like, no, I can take those off. But still, like, Yamato's, like, ignoring it. And that's whenever they start hearing all the noise below them, because apparently they just so happen to be in an attic space just above where the announcement for the new Onigashima project's happening. So it cuts over to that, and we get to figure out what that is.
That was something.
Oh my god. Kaido is ballsy, to say the least.
He's just straight up.
He's like, okay, so to sum things up, put it in perspective for everybody dumb enough to know, we're going to go look for all the ancient weapons, and once we find them, we're taking the One Piece. It's like,
no, I wonder, did he say that, like, I might need to just look back at it later, but I couldn't remember. Did he say they take the ancient weapons and then get the One Piece, or did he count the One Piece as an ancient weapon?
He said we're going to gather the ancient weapons and go after the One Piece.
Oh, okay. I can remember, because I was thinking, like, wait, has the One Piece been an ancient weapon this whole time?
That would have been cool, but it might still be true, but I don't know. It's probably not one of the three ancient weapons, even if it is.
But, I mean, no, I think we know where they are, or at least know what they are, right? We have the one.
We know what the three's names are. We don't know what they all are. Robin knows, we think. Here's the weird part. Robin is technically like the most dangerous person in the world. Robin knows where Pluton is, because even back in Alabasta, she lied to Crocodile saying that poneglyph just said history about it. And then afterwards, the king of Alabasta was sitting there, Cobra, was saying, are you sure? I know it's written here. And she just denied it again.
Mhm.
So more than likely, she knows exactly where Pluton is. Not going to say anything. She knows exactly where Poseidon is. And she's the only reason we even know what the third weapon is called. Uranus.
Mhm.
She probably knows where all three ancient weapons are. That's terrifying.
Wait, didn't we know what the? I forget. It's been so long, and I'm
Pluton's
ashamed.
a
It's
ship, Poseidon's a person, and we don't even know what the last one is, Uranus.
yeah. I was wondering because like during the Fishman arc, when they were talking about the boat, they said that was Pluton, wasn't
No, that was
it?
just
It
an
was.
arc. That was a ship promised to Joy Boy.
I was trying to remember
It
because I
could
could have
be the ship
sworn
that
they.
Luffy was destroying. Totally could have been it, but all we know is that it was the ship promised to Joy Boy.
I was just wondering because like I could have sworn they mentioned something about one of the ancient weapons in that arc, and I thought they said it was the boat.
No, it's Poseidon. It was
Huh.
it was Shirahoshi. She was the ancient weapon.
Huh.
Like one is a living person. Another
Mm.
is a ship that can blast through anything. The last one is an unnamed device that's just known as Uranus, which is king of the sky. So take your pick. That's probably a plane.
We have planes in One Piece. I could dig it.
Weirdly, the world seemed more advanced in the past.
It's like that with a lot of stuff. If you if you ever noticed that in a lot of media, it's like back in the day. It's like with Lapita, right? They had giant sky like civilizations, and now they rely on like cars and trains and stuff. It's like we downgraded.
Well, it's a popular trope. And to be
I mean,
honest, it's a
yeah.
really interesting way of doing a lot of stuff. It's like
I mean, I like
Arthur
it
on
too.
House
I'm
of
just
Power is I know you've probably never read that book. I don't know anybody. I've never met anybody who's read that those books. But
I
Arthur on
haven't.
House of Power is literally like this tiered cake-looking planet
Mhm.
that has like an upper class, worker class, and then this forgotten class that's just like the trash and stuff.
Mhm.
But then you find out in the middle of the first book, I think, that it's actually a man-made satellite where everybody on there's only been on there for 5 years and had their memories wiped to go on
Oh
there as a
wow,
condition.
wow, that's crazy.
It's like it's a pretty popular trope, but it is a cool trope.
I mean, I like it. I find it amusing how much it's used, but I really like that idea because it always leads to cool designs or architecture.
But going back to it, yeah, they straight up announced that they're going to do that, and then on top of that, Orochi's been standing up there the whole time, just listening, and just like, okay, now when can I go back to talking about my execution?
And then poor,
No, we're
poor,
not there yet. Kaido immediately followed up the announcement of that with a. Now on top of this, Wano is basically the perfect natural fortress.
Mhm.
It's surrounded on all sides by a waterfall. It's safe from the world government and the navy.
Mhm.
So I'm taking this.
It basically turns into a
He's
war
like, and
nation.
all you samurai are going to join me. I'm going to make the flower capital residents. They're going to become a labor force along with everybody else. We're going to turn this into a lawless paradise, kind of like the pirate island,
Mhm.
and use this as a front to attack the rest of the world. And I'm calling the flower capital the New Onigashima. So that's why it's
Mhm.
the New Onigashima project. But then Orochi immediately starts getting mad. He's like, "This is what we agreed upon. The flower capital's mine." And then this slowly, during this whole thing, like King was pulling out his sword and he just laid it across his hands. And
Mhm.
Kaido picked it up and lopped off freaking Orochi's head. One go. Nobody was expecting that.
I turned the page and I was like, "Oh my god!" I didn't expect him to behead a man in the middle of his.
I was
I
not
mean,
expecting to get to see it. Like, usually, if that kind of thing, it cuts to black. And so it's like you didn't see it, but you saw it.
it's like with Odin getting shot in the head. You see his outline, but you don't technically see him get
Which is
shot.
why I'm almost positive Orochi's not dead. It
Plus
seems
his
like,
namesake. It's
yeah,
like he's an eight-headed serpent, so What about the other
And I
seven?
know the Hydra is not the same thing, but the odds that there's a Hydra fruit and there's an Orochi fruit, which are just two 8-headed snakes, is really small. So I imagine this is a feature of the fruit that he's got. I don't know. It's probably either you had to kill him while he's in the 8-headed form, or you had to kill each one of the 8 heads.
Which we've seen it before, haven't we?
Yeah, which it's just 8 of his dumb face with different personalities.
I love his dumb face.
If anything, this might make Orochi more brave, because it might have just lopped off the scaredy cat personality.
That'd be an interesting look at it.
Yeah.
It's like, depending on what personality he lost there, that'd be cool.
Yeah. And honestly, that would make it more sense, because everybody deserves a day to get Orochi at this point, and so that gives everybody a chance.
It's like they just walk off, cut off a head, and leave, and just get in the line.
It's like everybody take a turn. But Kaido went first.
Which, to be fair, he's not the most probably deserving of a cut off of Orochi's head, but he's up there. Like, stupid Orochi.
Yeah. That's when I think the samurai immediately started taking him seriously, of like, oh, we become pirates or we're dead.
Mm-hmm.
But during the middle of this, like, I think it was during this part, like, out of the side of one of the walls, they get punched and in comes Big Bomb holding Zeus, which is like little X's across his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And surrounded by yokai, just comes in and drops something at her feet, and she's like, "Mama, mama, we're gonna take over the world." And he's like, "Lin, where have you been?" And she's like, "It doesn't matter, I'm here now." And then we see what she dropped was she dropped Carrot and Nami, so apparently beat the crap out of them, and took Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
So Nami just lost her biggest power up. The
That's
only
sad.
thing that would actually make her be able to fight in this scenario, unless she can somehow get Zeus back.
Mm-hmm.
Best straw hats down for the count, apparently.
No.
But like Nami and not Nami, Robin and Jinbei just saw this because they're standing there hearing this.
Mm-hmm. They're having to hide in the crowd though, so they can't show themselves.
During all of this, like it's been cutting over to it a little by little. That Luffy and Yamato are like leaning their heads into one of the boards. I don't know why they wouldn't move it out of the way, but they're just like sticking their head through the board. And after each announcement, like whenever the first little bit, they were just listening to it, and then Kaido announces that he's going after the One Piece, and Luffy's like, "What?" and pushes into the board even more. And Yamato's like, "No, you can't go in there," and pulls him back a little bit. But then
He's
right
like,
at the very
mine.
end. Yeah, right at the very end, whenever he's announcing, like, whenever we take over this as the new Onigashima, my son Yamato will take over as the new Shogun. That's when Luffy and Yamato both stick their heads through the board so hard they jump through the board. Like, this is when Luffy noticed Momo, like, as he's going through. So he's like, "Momonosuke, I'm gonna save you." And Yamato's like, "The hell you're making me the Shogun?"
And that's how that chapter ends.
No, that's not how that chapter ends.
Yeah, it does. It ends on that.
No, that's not how it ends.
It ends on that panel.
I know it ends on that paddle, but that's not how that chapter ends. Okay, right as all this is happening, at the very top, there's a whole nother part of the story happening, which is we get to see it's right back on top of the mountain. We get to see a sword coated in blood, just dripping onto the ground, and it's you get to see the bottom of Kiku's armor, and then it cuts over to a face just pouring tears. Like,
which is that same.
It's her helmet just pouring tears. So this might have been a twofer kill.
They kill.
With only one, I think, coming back. But yeah, it looks like Kiku killed Conjura.
It definitely does. Or just very much hurt him, but it's really seeming to imply that
With
he's dead.
like the tears streaming and that blood all over it, I really, really think she just killed Kandro.
Mm. I'm thinking the same thing. I don't know because they made a mention of like tortures your soul, and I don't know if that was meant to be like a cool line or if it's like something else going on. But I'm
I
betting
think it
he's
was to
dead.
signify that even in death, that this should torture you.
Mm.
Not that that's an actual feature of the sword, but it might be. I mean, who knows?
We got Katana in the Suicide Squad. The sword traps the souls of its victims. Ugh. I like that movie, but man, that line was weird.
I mean, she's a really cool character.
I've heard, but
I
you know
know,
what's
I know you're only just now getting into comics, but really, she's a cool character, and you should see what that sword's capable of. It's pretty cool.
you
But
know
it's
what's
like,
funny though? I don't mean to get off topic,
yeah,
but I want to talk about this real quick. They have a sword that traps the souls of its victims. That's it's. She comes onto the screen, and that's what they say.
I know
And
they
their
introduced that pretty poorly.
and their villain is a soul that took over a body, and they never once used the sword to do anything about that.
It's a terrible idea. Like,
And like,
I
I
get
don't
it.
get
You
it.
could probably risk taking over the person who's also possessed by it,
Mm.
but it was a better option than anything they looked like they were trying.
They were already going to blow her up anyway, so I don't know what that was about.
Yeah. So
But yeah,
but this
well,
isn't the
we'll
time
get
to
back. I
harp
just
on
wanted to
that.
mention that because it bothered me.
But
It bothers me every time I think about it.
the reason I'm talking about it, it could be a it really could be a feature of the sword. Like, we can't rule it out completely because
Mm.
like Kikoku exists.
Mm.
That is a cursed blade that freaking Allah has. We don't know what the curse of that thing is, but we do know it's called Demon's Whale. And then
Sorry.
there's Zoro's curse blade.
Mm.
So it's just, in general, she could totally have a cursed blade. We just don't know, and that was the first time we actually hear about it. But man, Kiku gets MVP. Not Kaido, Kiku. That was the coolest like beginning of a fight I've ever seen.
Mm.
Like, from One Piece at least. Like, maybe the Rob fight might be better.
Oh,
Because the gear up for that was just so good. But for a side character fight, that
that
was
was a really
so
cool scene.
metal.
Mm. Wearing the sweet mask in the snow with samurai swords, like you cannot move.
Flashing it like that was so fast. Like, because those two arrived against each other before the charging horses even started coming forward.
Mm.
It's like, oh, and you saw the impact. It blew back the snow. It was so cool. Like,
I
we
love the
just do,
sword.
and I want to see how that fight went because I know that Oda might not show it to us, but I want to see this cool epic samurai battle in the snow. I want to see this.
It's always funny to me. It's like he cuts away from these battles so much, and I'm like, you're 985 chapters in. You can take a second. You can, like, come on,
I
give us
know
this.
he's trying to cut back to the big major plot points, but I do hope we get an elaboration to that battle because I want to see that, and especially since I think this is a detail a lot of people seem to be missing. Just from the little bit of reviews I've looked at, not a lot of people are mentioning those last 2 pages of Kiku.
Mm.
Like, whether you want to say Kiku just kills, like, hurt somebody, whether you want to say that that's the ink from the two samurai thing, I don't think that's it.
It looks like blood to me. I mean, I know it's hard in black and
I
white,
don't
but
see
it
how she
feels
would
like.
be crying if it was ink.
Mm.
Unless it's like she went and tried to kill her, somebody who used to be her friend, and then he popped away as ink.
I'm gonna go with the he's either injured or dead kind of thing. I don't think it's ink.
Yeah, and even if it's either one, we might get like a mini flashback thing of like seeing how that battle goes. But I really want to see that battle. And One Piece wins the hype award this week, and I think I know we're getting a break next week, but I'm so looking forward to how One Piece is going to go. What is your order of expectations for this next set whenever we get it?
What do you mean?
which one are you the most looking forward to? Which one are you the least looking forward to? Like, what's your order for it? Mine is One Piece, then My Hero Academia, then it's probably Chainsaw Man and then Black Clover and Doctor Stone. Like, well, which is weird because Black Clover, I said already, was my least hyped, but I am still more excited to figure that one out. Because I know that we just got this power up. I want to see how good this fight's gonna go. It's gonna go ballistic, and I need to see that. Like, yes, I think the Senku thing's gonna be cool, but that's just everything was cool this week, and I expect everything to be cool the next time we get to see it.
I'm thinking, like, let's see, probably One Piece, and then like, I don't know, because like Chainsaw Man ended at a spot where I'm like, I'm so invested in this that I cannot wait to see what happens next.
I really am too. It's like I really am too. It's like it's not a hype moment. It's not like, oh, this is super adrenaline filled, like chainsaw fighting on the back of a shark inside a baby typhoon.
But it's like you just want to see what happens because you're like, I need this.
Yeah, this is getting like the deepest Chainsaw Man's gotten in a while. In the middle of a fight, which usually these things happen at opposite times. But
it just so happens that our fight is between our three main characters.
It's hitting so well. Which is why, even though Chainsaw Man was kind of low on that list, I am looking forward to that too. My Hero Academia, I'm just so curious as where it's about to hit ahead.
Because I mean, they got to fight the villains on the back of on the back of Gigantomachia. You got the stuff with Uraraka at some point. You got the stuff with what's her name? Midnight. I almost called her Mountain Lady for Midnight getting attacked by that villain that we cut away from.
But yeah, there's like so many facets of this battle that are happening all at once that I need to know more. Especially since there is a giant swath right in the center. Because so far, it is down here around the mansion. We've gotten a lot of chapters about. It's up here around the hospital. We've gotten a lot of chapters about. We're not getting any of the city that sits in between. It's like we've traveled through it a little bit, but we need to see more of what's happening with that. I'm really, really curious.
And then, like, with Dr. Stone, it's like, Senku's going to be all right, so it's not as much of a cliffhanger kind of thing, but it will be interesting to kind of see.
Yeah, it's not a huge shock factor, but it is, like, I really do want to see how it's going to go, especially since Zeno has doubled down on we're killing him.
Like, he finally went through, it's like, okay, do I want to kill him? Yeah, I do. I need to, at least. So it's like, we got that, and then Black Clover. It's like, I love Black Clover. I look forward to reading it every week. But, man...
There hasn't been an arc I've really hated Black Clover. It's been consistent throughout the board. Same thing with Chainsaw Man. There's not an arc I really hate.
The only thing I got confused on with Chainsaw Man was the stupid... not stupid, but just weird doll thing. Like, remember Santa Claus?
Oh, yeah.
We thought he was the old man, and it
old
turned out to be
but it turned out to be the young pedophile?
What was that thing?
What do you mean?
When I got confused, because, like, okay, we get the master telling, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but her student to get the last of the nail hits. I know this is off topic and we're still recording this, but...
No, you're good. Keep going.
Okay, but he gets the last of the nail hits and gets Denji incapacitated, right? And then she sacrifices him, turning him into a doll, and then it cuts away to the old man who's also in the mall.
Yeah.
And it turns out that's her grandpa, I guess? According to her, it's like...
She calls him grandpa. Yeah. It's not... I don't think it's her actual grandpa. I think
just some old man, like an honorific kind of thing.
I think it's a doll she's had for a long time. Because that's the one that's known to the German government.
So so she can control them and talk through them?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't understand that. I didn't realize that, I guess. Because like he gets the talk with him, or old man gets to talk with the guy that's he's setting up what he gets for the
Yeah.
mission, and then like he just in the mall he kills himself, and they go to hell, which I can't believe that's a sentence I just said.
Yeah, to
But
offer what was it? Offered two of the children for the ticket, and
uh,
then once they got there, it offered the apprentice for the piece of the devil,
yeah, they got
and
three children.
all the people that he brought.
Mhm. So like they lost all the people inside the mall that were alive get transported.
Yeah, and they were all offered to the darkness devil for that piece, but then Makino kind of cheats that and takes them out.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's
I just got
I wouldn't say
confused at
it's a
that
bad
part.
arc, but yeah, it was a little obtuse at first. You have to kind of read it a couple times, which I always end up reading Chainsaw Man a couple times through every arc.
Mhm.
Just because at first it's like unlimited amounts of hype. And then you go back and it's like it is psychologically deep. On top of this, I'm always looking forward to that one. But
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't saying it was bad. I didn't understand that, and I've been
oh,
meaning to
I
ask for a
understand what
while.
you mean. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like it was more clear when I reread it.
Mhm. I didn't get it because it showed the younger student and then it like showed directly the old man. So when I first saw that, I thought it was like some weird time travel thing. Like he was
I think it
the
was
old man.
showing that old versus new. Like this is the puppet she's always used. This is the puppet she plans.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay then. Yeah, but that was that. I've just been wondering about that.
All right.
But
And
yeah, I'd say pretty much the same order. Honestly, it's just like all the stuff is
yeah,
cool.
it's like I'm not. There's nothing I'm not excited for in this next set, but it's One Piece looks so good.
Oh, that chapter was so cool.
But all right, I guess we're ending things here. Subscribe to the like button, like the subscribe button.